Does Bill Belichick have anything to prove, Mark?
Oh, I think he certainly has something to prove. Prove to himself that you can win multiple championships without Tom Brady as your quarterback. You know, I say this all the time, Jason. You think the Eagles are big downstairs in the locker room? Walk upstairs to the coaches' offices. They want to prove it's them. They want to prove that they are like the reason that you won. And I understand Bill Belichick knows it's about his players to some degree, but I don't think there's any question that he would like to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that he is the greatest coach in any sport of all time. And you know how you do that? You know how you set yourself apart? You win another championship with some guy named Stidham or some guy named Andy Dalton, and you walk away with it on those terms. Then it's not about Brady and Belichick. It's about Belichick being the greatest coach of all time. And I'm not just talking about in the NFL. I'm talking about in sports in general.
I think that's a high bar to climb in terms. I don't know if he can ever, in my mind, get ahead of the hockey coach, Scotty Bowman. But I hear you. But I just think, to me, Bill Belichick sits in his office today and says, I made Tom Brady what he is. I don't think Bill Belichick has one doubt in his mind that he's proven everything there is to be proven as an NFL coach. Now, if he wants to go join the NBA and coach there and show he can do it in another sport, that's a way he can improve on his legacy. There's nothing for him to do in the NFL to prove a damn thing.
No, I agree with that. You didn't have to prove anything. You didn't have to prove anything to me. But I think when you're an ultimate competitor, and he's an ultimate competitor, you're proving to yourself that, hey, it's not just about me and Tom Brady together. I can win championships with other guys. My coaching style and what I do to develop players, that's the difference. And so those guys compete. The most amazing thing about Tom Brady, the most amazing thing about Bill Belichick is neither of those guys over the course of their career have been sated by success. You know how hard that is? Once you've had success and once you have the money and once you have the adulation of the fans, to not be satisfied by that, but to still be driven. And you have to be one of the great competitors there are on the face of the planet to be driven like that. He is one of those guys. And I don't think there's any question that he wants to prove that he can do it without Tom Brady. I just think that's human nature for a great coach like that.
I think there was a third name you could have added to that list. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, Jason Whitlock. I've never been satisfied by success, and I've had nothing but success my whole life. Never been satisfied. So, listen, I understand you're one of these nut jobs like Eric Dickerson that has a problem with the Rams' new logo. Please tell me that's not true. You don't have a problem with this new logo, do you?
That new logo is nothing but ugly. It looks like some local news station's morning cup of Joe show is what that looks like. You know, I have my own business, right? I'm a businessman. I've got a gourmet line of green chili. When we started it 12 years ago, we didn't have any money. So we designed our own labels. We designed our own logos. We did all that stuff, right? And once we had some money, we went and got a professional designer to actually uplift our logos and to actually make it more appealing to the consumer. And that, to me, was a big difference in what we did. The Rams, to me, had the professional logo done from the 40s, 50s, or 60s, or whatever it was, and then they let their 8-year-old daughter draw these renditions and put them out there in circulation. That is just, I mean, did you guys hire a professional to do this? Or is that, we're having our morning cup of Joe? This is embarrassing.
No, let me tell you what's going on here, Mark. You, like Eric Dickerson and everybody else, you got cabin fever. You got nothing to do. And so the Rams gave you something to complain about. Oh, they put out a new logo, and let me complain about this. If the world were normal right now and we were able to come and go as we please, and you were out in your garden all day working instead of sitting in your house worried about nothing and wondering what you're going to do, you wouldn't be complaining about this new logo. You'd look at it and say, it's not the best I've ever seen, and you'd move on.
I disagree. I know what ugly looks like, regardless if I'm got cabin fever or if I don't have cabin fever. That's closing time, and you better be 3 sheets to the wind before you take that logo home.
All right, let me ask you this. I started my show with my rant about how I think the sports world's going to be different post the coronavirus. How do you think the sports world might be different once we get to the other side of this corona pandemic?
Well, it's interesting. And you mentioned football, and I was listening to you, and the role that football plays in just our society in general. And I think it's a really interesting role because, for so long now, this has been a sport that's been the lifeblood that courses through my veins, something that I just love with all the passion that I have. And our sport, the one we love, has been under attack for a long time by people who hate our sport. And our sport has an ability to bring people together. Sports in general has an ability to bring communities together, to have this kind of attachment. And that's what I see sports doing in this country. It brings us together as people. It gives us lessons, valuable life lessons about sacrifice and what we have to do. It's funny. I was on this national prayer meeting today over Instagram, and was attached to Africa and to places all around the United States of America, praying for our country and praying for the first responders and praying for the medical workers. And one of the amazing things about what people are doing right now on the front lines is one of my favorite scriptures in John 15:13, which says, no greater love than this, someone who would lay down his life for a friend. And it's amazing to see what our country is doing, and to have great championship success, you've got to be able to sacrifice, to lay down your fame, your whatever accolades you want to achieve. You've got to be able to lay those down for your teammates. And that's what I see happening in this country right now. And I hope, I hope good can come from all the disaster that's going on right now, and that we can come together as a country in general. And I think sports helps us to do that. So that's what I think we have to look forward to when sports do come back and help connect us as communities once again.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. And be sure to check out more of the best clips from Speak For Yourself, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.